Welcome everybody. We're going to do a Q&A today with one of the developers from the Redot Engine. Redot, how's that go? Andevrs, how are you doing?
Good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I know there's always the question as to how to pronounce the name. You know, it's definitely a good one. What's your take on it? How do we go with it?
I don't know. Andevrs, I guess.
Yeah,
Most people just call me Drew.
Drew. Okay, well I can call you Drew there, sir. Um, All right. Well, so I guess we kind of all know why we're here today. It's there was some interesting kerfuffle a few months back, or about a month ago, actually, at this point, with Godot, and some developers reached out and decided to form a couple of forks. Several of them indeed exist now, and Redot seems to be the one that is gaining a lot of popularity. And we're here with Andevr. And why don't you tell us about your background, kind of where you sit in the I guess the hierarchy of the game, the game engine, where what your position is there, kind of how that all fits together.
I'm kind of the project manager. Deal with all the teams, the web team, the mod team, the engine team. Just try to coordinate things. I wear a lot of hats. Obviously, I do social media stuff, and yeah, kind of jack of all trades. And just try to cover as many bases as I can. It is
Right.
it is a giant machine, and you just keep all the parts moving.
What were some of the first struggles you dealt with when you were trying to get the port up and running?
Um,
Oh, did we lost him for a second? Okay, well we'll just technical difficulties. Yeah, no problems. We'll just wait for a second. Yep, just all right, everybody. We'll just stand by out there on stream. We're gonna work to bring him back on. Sorry about that. Okay, he's coming back. We got him here. Sorry about that, everyone. It's always a struggle sometimes with.
there we go.
Okay, he's coming back up. All right. So yeah, we'll just give us more. I guess I asked a question about what's your position. You said you're doing sort of administrative role sort of thing, and then I said, what's the struggles you guys had with bringing the fork up and kind of getting things running? What are some of the war stories and just kind of building it out?
Well, obviously there was a lot. We didn't expect everything to blow up like it did, and we made a Twitter account, made a Discord, made the initial fork, and then I think we just tweeted it out, and then next thing you know, our Discord was blowing up. So trying to sort of build the ship while it's in the ocean.
Yeah.
is kind of the analogy I like to use.
Yeah, there's a classic commercial from the 90s, or I think it was an IBM commercial. They're flying an airliner, and it's being built in flight with people like blowing around, flying out of it. I think it's an IBM commercial.
Yeah.
And they're like stitching it together, and they talk about software development at the speed of travel or
commerce
or something like that. And it's always like that commercial. It's
very representative. Very representative.
Right. It's very apt in all software development builds. Yeah, it's very difficult to everything's kind of in flight at all times.
Mm-hmm.
What so like from that perspective, like what are the more like narrow focus like development struggles, like when it comes to the software itself? Like, was it difficult to get running? Was it difficult to get like a continuous, like, do you guys have a CI/CD build, or is it just okay? And so you got that running. So how'd that go?
So the CI/CD stuff works. There's a lot of issues with getting the builds to come out properly. It seems like it wasn't designed for that, so we're sort of having to build it into GitHub to make it work. Everybody says we'll just fork it, like it only takes 2 seconds to click the fork button, and That is true, but there is a huge amount of work that has to go into getting it up and running as the main main project does. Um, so we're not quite there yet, but we're definitely getting there. Um, one of the things that doesn't currently work the way it needs to is the templates for exporting games.
Hmm.
Um, so our system kicks out the templates, but in the engine, you can just click download and it pulls it right in. Um, so we have to go on our website, create mirror, and set it up so that people can just click the download button and get the exports. So currently they're having to download a zip. Um, we told them where to go for what system they're using, whether it's Linux, Windows, or Mac, and then just basically unzip it there, and then the engine won't complain about can't find the templates. So that's our current fix. But I believe they're getting the mirror situation figured out today, I think. So hopefully going forward that won't be such an issue.
Yeah, on large projects like that, they can often be very difficult to adopt and start get yourself acquainted with it, get it under your belt, kind of
Mm-hmm.
sort out where things need to go. What are I guess what are some of the other technical challenges that your team has met? I guess since you do have now a team of people working on the Redot engine. Um, so like what are some of the technical challenges the team has faced outside of just the Godot stuff?
I mean, that's been a bulk of it. Obviously, we're dealing with a huge amount of people in a short amount of time. So there's a lot of challenges with kind of, I mean, just overall managing the situation. Early on, we got bombed with, people coming in and just trying to create more havoc, or post spam links or talk trash, all this kind of stuff. So, some of we had people quit over it. They got message death threats and stuff like that, which it's drama. I didn't
Right.
expect that kind of drama. I honestly didn't think there'd be much in the way of a draw for a fork of Godot, but I mean, obviously, I'm glad there was, and I think we provide a good community and stuff. But it took a while to get to the point where things are kind of a little more, I'll say, mellow.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not that mellow yet. There's still things, um, especially because we're trying to be apolitical and keep things focused on the game, on building games. Um,
Right. I can understand that perspective. Given that, as it is, do you feel like, like you were saying, you got like a strong community behind that? You feel like, that's the one thing that I guess I suspect a lot of people were worried about with Godot is that there were people that just came off as toxic or gatekeeping or causing trouble there. Do you feel like you guys have got that kind of nipped in the bud, keep that from happening with your fork as well?
um, hopefully, uh,
It's hard, right? I
yeah,
get that.
it's hard. It's a constant, ongoing management situation where we it's like riding the waves.
Yeah, yeah,
It's kind of a day at a time thing. We just try to manage things as they happen, and you can't control everything everybody says everywhere. So
right, right.
mostly I try to ignore the online stuff for the most part. I don't
Right,
get
get out
into.
and touch grass.
Right, just try to keep things kind of as calm and steady as possible.
Well, right on. Now that you've got the kind of the engine going up and you got builds coming out, and obviously with the mitigation for the packages, what you were talking about, I guess that's the build bundles or however that works. The what they call
Right.
them in Godot. It's what's that feature called? The way that like a HTML build or because that's what you were explaining before, right? The HTML build
Yeah,
is a separate package, and then the C++ native game, that's a different package.
right.
And
Yeah,
that's the part that was struggle with.
yes. Right now, somebody has used their computer to set up and kick out all the builds for all the various platforms. So I believe he has to use Docker and some things. I'm not too familiar with how he has it set up,
Right.
but there's a lot of different platforms that Godot can run on, including Android, which is pretty wild. I don't know that. I think we have a few people that use it or have asked for it or talked about it.
Yep.
Not a lot. I think Mac is another one that we don't have a ton of users. I use it mainly because I use a Mac more for just kind of general stuff. I do have Windows and Linux machines also, but
Yeah.
but every now and again I like to just kick around with a laptop and dabble in some 2D game development, and so I have Godot on my Mac for that. But that was one of the things we had to pay for a developer account, and so we could sign.
Oh yeah, because you got Xcode and all that fun. That
Yeah,
whole fun thing.
yeah.
I remember seeing the rant on Pirate Software where he talked about how he just gave up doing Mac dev, where he
Mhm.
goes, for Windows, it's easy. For Linux,
Mhm.
it's easy. For Mac, you have to buy Mac hardware. You have to buy a license. You have to get this. And then you have to, you have to build it through Xcode and exclusively through Xcode in order to get it signed. And if something build fails, you have to start that process over again. It's like, ugh.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's been a lot of that, a lot of start over, a lot of rebuild or tweak settings, or the signing was a bit of a pain in the ass. But we finally got that taken care of.
that's great. I guess kind of going forward then, what are
Yeah.
some of the technical improvements that you've already, improvements or ideas that you've had currently, and then what's some of the targeted ideas that you guys got going forward?
Yeah. So we recently rolled out our roadmap. So obviously we're our primary focus is to not deviate Redot too far away from Godot, because we want people to be able to come over and use it. We want people to be able to use the plugins that they're currently using, and not have to worry about, is my project even going to run?
Yeah.
So we are very careful about what we decide to put in, just because we don't want to break compatibility. So
Yeah.
that's probably, as far as that goes, like that's probably the biggest focus. Is we want to make improvements and bug fixes, but we don't want it to break things in a way that people can't bring their project over. So we've talked about like working more with add-ons and stuff, and we've got an asset library in the works. We've got a package manager that's being worked on.
Yeah. How does that library stuff work? I guess like you're talking about the Godot store. Is that something you guys still have access to, the asset library or asset store?
Yeah. So the hard part about their asset stores, it's hard to find stuff. It's not very well not managed, organized. It's not very well organized. So a lot of the ideas we've had around that are basically organization and providing a better way for people to find the things that they want to find, and stuff like that. We also want to build game templates so that people can start a project and it'll give them like the basics of a type of game, whether it's platforming or first person shooter, stuff like that. And then there's a lot of PRs and stuff out there that are already that users have submitted to Godot, but they've obviously sat and languished. So we're looking through those and finding good ones that won't break compatibility, and trying to pull those in. We give credit for all the code that we do, so we try to make sure that if we can, we contact the person that did it, so that they can just move the PR over. But otherwise, we'll cherry pick it or whatever and make sure they get credit in the code.
Yeah. I think that's important. Like, I did read that you guys had changed the licensing terms over there or something. There's something in the licensing terms. Is it still using the Godot license, or is it using MIT, or what's the plan
It's
there?
an MIT license. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same license. Yep.
Oh,
Well, we
okay.
can't change that, so we can't.
Oh, okay, okay.
We don't go through and rip out licensing or anything like that. Um, there was some kerfuffle over a a PR that was cherry picked from another fork,
Oh, okay.
and there were some accusations of not getting credit, but those were false. We obviously gave credit. We pointed out to where the credit was given, and actually, it's funny because Godot turned around and cherry picked it too.
That's nice.
So now it's slated for their 4.3 release also, which is
Oh,
kind of
that's
funny.
pretty interesting. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're
It's
not.
kind of the nature of open source development, right? It's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
does that all right? It's something that I've long lamented myself. Like, how do you build something open source, but then feel like you
Hmm.
can maintain some control over it? Because I think that those should not be mutually exclusive ideas. But at the same time, when forking someone else's code that is under a license that's super permissive, you can't really undo that license and switch over to something that you can't undo that openness, and that's part of it.
Right. I think and I'm not a complete expert on MIT or open source licensing, but I believe
Mm.
if you've made substantial changes to something, then you can switch the license. But again, I'm not an expert on that. But our goal with this, at least this particular, at least 4.3 for sure,
Hmm.
and 4.4 ongoing for the time being. We want to keep um, up with Godot in a way that allows people to come over and use Redot but have extra bug fixes and features. So that's kind of our focus for this. We aren't trying to necessarily reinvent the wheel with these two projects. Now we have been discussing an experimental build, which would be a separate repo, but it would give us a place to test some larger things, like just as a for instance, maybe swapping out the renderer, or there's obviously there's been a lot of discussions about things we could do, different language changes and things like that. But just it would give us something else that or another place we could try things out and see what worked, because there's been a lot of questions about, could you change this or could you change that? And
You don't know
as
till you try.
you don't know until you try, and as developers, you're always thinking about how you can, how you can do these things or how it might be
Oh
feasible.
yeah.
So it's going to be probably more of a testing ground at first, where maybe we test out some of these things, like changing out the renderer. For some reason, that one's been talked about a lot. The physics engine, maybe building in Bolt.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that talk about. There's a couple of really good add-ons that you can get.
Or Jolt. Sorry, I don't know why I said
Jolt, yeah,
Bolt.
yeah, and that looked really good when you put them in the Godot engine natively. So it'd be nice to get tighter coupling, like a native
Mm-hmm.
build. Something like that would be kind of nice.
Yeah, so that would be a place we could test those things out and maybe do some releases for people to test and stuff, and maybe eventually build something that's completely different
Right.
from Godot. But this way people can come use the project, join the community, um, and not have their games break, while we're also doing some experimentation and figuring out what we could do with the base of the engine.
Yeah. If you like, given how things sit right now, let's say in a year,
Mhm.
where would you expect compatibility to be? And then, like, what about feature plus, like being a superset of Godot versus just
Right.
a feature parity? What do you
Yeah.
think about those? Is that a goal, like long term? Like, what features might be useful to add in that case? Like, if you had a pipe dream, what's your wish
Mm.
list?
I don't know that I have a wish list. You know, our interest is listening to the community and seeing what their wish lists are,
Yeah.
and pulling ideas from them. So we actually have a proposals system on our website where people can go and kind of see uh, what's at the top of the list. I think one of them, let me see, I can pull it up. One of them is being worked on now, which is a new package manager. Um,
Oh, okay.
so that was kind of a big thing. It wasn't included, and people are interested in it. So someone's actually working on it now. Um, and yeah, so we're using the kind of proposal system to gauge what the community wants, um, and uh, and just kind of go from there. We're obviously taking ideas and people submitting issues and PRs and just trying to get a good sense of what the community is asking for, and then seeing if it's feasible without breaking compatibility.
Well, right on. I think we're getting close to wanting to bring some people up and talk. Do we?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. I do have one last question, real quick
Shoot.
before we bring some people up here. But the uh, you should probably give some shout outs to the people in your community and group, just people that have been helping out that you really feel are pulling their weight, and I think that's really important. If you have any way you can think of, just
Everybody.
everybody. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I
That's great.
mean, this whole thing wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for the community and the people that have jumped in to help. I mean, there's been so many between devs, getting involved and wanting to build this thing out, and both the web team, the mod team, all the members. We've got people that are now helping. They're donating to our Ko-fi account, um, and I mean, just all kinds of people are helping. People are making videos. Um, our logo was created by a member of the community.
Hmm.
Same, we had a mascot contest and a logo contest, and people just submitted tons and tons of art, and then everybody voted on it. So without all the people that decided we were worth taking a chance on, you know, we wouldn't exist. So, a huge thank you to pretty much everybody, Discord, Twitter, all of the other social medias. Um, yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. It's been a blast. It's been a really crazy ride, but it's been a lot of fun.
Well, that sounds great. I guess we're ready to bring some people up. We can. Okay, we got some questions from chat first that are going to come up.
Questions from chat.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. My question is, why is there such a small following for things like this? When gamers really hate games of propaganda, look at Concord and now Dragon Age, or is it because they're scared? Lol.
Such a small following. I mean,
It's you put that in context, right? Like it is only a month out
yeah,
from any of the hullabaloo.
hmm
Things have really yet to settle.
yeah, yeah.
But what are your feelings on that?
Um, I don't know that. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily small, but I think that there's. I mean, most of your normal average person isn't really aware of game engines, or
That's fair.
they're not really thinking about that stuff. So as far as like our game engine is involved, um, the people that know about us are the people that use game engines. I mean, that's kind of it. So there's probably less of those than there is of gamers.
And then maybe
Um,
politically aware game developers.
yeah, sure. So we just really wanted to create something that wasn't politically focused or socially focused in that way. Just, forget all that stuff. Just come make games. So we don't care, what side of the aisle you live on. You're welcome to come and talk, and you're not going to just get banned for doing something stupid. We might time you out or something like that, but yeah, we're not going to just kick you out just because you disagree with a political side, I guess, or the social stuff too. So
Right.
But yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily small. I just think there's a lot of people that that just don't, they're just not that aware of it. You kind of have to be a gamer to even know about some of this stuff, and the rest of it we're just not too concerned with. There's no way for us to kind of keep track of it all,
All right, on. I guess we'll pull some more chat. If we got some more questions from chat, we'll pull those up. Do you intend on keeping the project open source then?
Yeah. It's never going to close.
Yeah.
We're
I don't think there's a way to...
No, we're MIT licensed. That's going to stay. Project will always be open source. In fact, one of the things that we want to do is create a kind of a foundation that can help keep it funded while also keeping it community focused, not corporate driven. So nobody will ever be able to pay us for a feature. They can donate to the project, but that nothing will be like kind of pay for feature or pay for fix or stuff like that. So
all right, what else we got here?
I like jokes. Let's do it.
We need in the website, we need on the first line, how do we pronounce Redot?
Okay, we've got Redot, we've got redo, we've got what am I missing? Redot, red dot, and yeah, any way you could think of saying it, it's fine.
I think we have to find a stable center.
Yeah, I usually say redo.
Redo. I'm kind of partial to redo as well. It has an interesting like flavor to it.
Yeah.
Start over.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, all right, hold up, redo. We're done.
I mean, the was kind of from reform anyway. So
see that by itself would be a pretty nice game engine name. The Reform Engine be kind of cool. Yeah. Give me credit.
Next iteration. Next iteration.
Yeah. Version 5. Get a couple years under your belt, and then right on. Okay. All right. So Drenzer asks about the recent hacking attempts. So I think the Twitter account got hacked, right?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, it happens, man. What are your means for prioritizing issues, and how aggressively do you intend to maintain parity with Godot? I think we kind of covered some of the parity.
We did kind of cover the parity stuff, but I'll answer it anyway. As far as the hacking thing, that was it was a misclick for sure. Somebody clicked on the
it was a phishing link.
It was a phishing link. Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
I've sent a couple of emails. In fact, X emailed me again today, so I sent them some more information. So hopefully, we'll get it back soon. Meanwhile, the new one is gaining followers pretty rapidly, so please follow that.
Right, and then you can redirect them whenever things get sorted out. Hopefully, you can get the attention back.
Two-factor authentication.
For sure. Yeah. Okay, well, we got some more popping up here.
Let's see.
Justin Barrett asks, what are the short-term and long-term goals? How do you handle onboarding, like the growth in the community on the developer side, and how do you plan to fund everything?
So let's see, short and long-term goals. I guess short-term is finish the build system, get everything set up so people can just download the template or the build templates or the export templates rather. Just kind of get everything squared away. Long-term goals, obviously, bug fixes, add new features, improvements. We actually, one of the things we picked, I think, was a UI improvement. So we're looking at stuff like that too. Snap to, I think somebody was working on a perfect pixel fix. I'm not sure how
Oh, that would be nice.
how that's going. They did create a shader that does it for you. And that was sort of the easy fix. I think the underlying fix might be a lot harder, but it's being investigated. So yeah, long term is just more bug fixes and features that we can add without breaking
I like this.
the core.
I like this question here about the onboarding. Like, what do you do to bring new developers up to speed with their existing code base? Is there any plan to give developers documentation on how the engine works and then bring them up? Some kind of rephrase the question a tiny bit, but yeah, that'd be nice to have.
Yeah, actually, there's been a lot of talk about actually adding more documentation to the engine itself. So having engine documentation. So that is kind of a thing that's being looked at. I don't know where we're at on it or anything. I can't give specifics, but as far as onboarding, we're open source, so there's not a like set in stone way to that we basically we try to talk to people, figure out what their interests and what their skill levels are, and we just bring them in and see how they do, see what they want to work on, if they do a PR or once we get to a point where we start laying out tasks, we can start assigning tasks to people and just kind of go from there. They can start small, work their way up. So I as far as the like a more of an onboarding process, that'll come once we probably get to our 1.0 release. It'll be much easier to do then, because right now we're still dealing with a lot of infrastructure stuff, if that makes sense.
No, that's totally understandable.
Community growth, I'm always working on that, whether it's spreading the word. I'm always trying to help other developers and spread word about their games. So even if it's not built with Godot or Redot, I will retweet your game and try to get you some traction on it. Helping game developers in general, just indie devs, is a kind of a big deal to me. So because I mostly play indie games at this point, so anything I can do to help the community, I'm pretty much for it.
I really been enjoying a lot of the indie games. I've been going through a lot of the Pico 8 indie games. I'm a big fan of that Pico 8 system. It's so fun. It also forces people to really focus on like gameplay because it's a limited engine. I love that. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, and that's kind of the cool thing about it is you have to focus on the gameplay because it's not like heavily, it's not like great graphics. Obviously, it's pixel art, but so the gameplay is highly important for that kind of thing. Funding, we have a Ko-Fi account. We don't have a we've been funding everything out of pocket. So me and a few other devs have been paying for hosting or paying for keys. We had to pay for a Mac developer account, stuff like that. That's par for the course. We want to put it on Steam at some point, but we've there's a steady growing amount of people that are helping out with on our Ko-Fi account. So our plan is just to grow that, and then hopefully keep everything covered. But it's still kind of early. We haven't had any like big donor options or anything like that, but
well, right on. Yeah, I think we should do a little bit here. So real quick, we'll shout out to everybody. Make sure you go and check out the itsbase.com, join our game jam and the Discord. And also, check out the Redot game dev. They've got their you can follow the links on the screen. And I think it'd be great to see everyone, build the communities and help each other out. It's just how we got to make this stuff work.
Yep, definitely. We have a game jam. I think they're announcing it tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah, we have
so
one that's for the fourth quarter for 2024. So it's our winter. We
oh,
had
cool.
so we just finished the fall, or sort of the quarter three game jam, I think it was
Mhm.
and so we're going right into the next one soon. So it'll be great.
How did that go?
It was wonderful. We had Ian Crossland help host as a judge,
Mm.
along with Andy Pants and Andy Pants Gaming, and then it was just honestly overall we had great games. The quality was way up this time.
Nice.
We've increased our base users by a lot, and that's really helped just source more and more talented people to kind of contribute to just contribute to the space of building culture and just kind of being out there. Some of these people just didn't feel like they had a place in gaming, and now they have a home where we can just kind of be people, just
Sure.
hang in. Yeah, and we should everyone should definitely check out our Game Jam Discord. It'd be great to get people to join up, and there's a link in the description, and there's a link on the screen as well.
Yeah, I definitely encourage any game dev to join as many game jams as possible. It's good for experience and good for just learning learning how to game dev overall. So any kind of game jam you can get into is a good thing.
Up next is sorry, let me see. Sir Hunt. Welcome, Sir Hunt. How are you doing there? See if we can hear you here. I think we're having some audio issues with him real quick. We might need to bring him back up. Let's see what happens here. All right. Okay, so let's so we're trying to bring him up one more time.
Come on down.
Okay, let's see. I'd like to say that my heart goes out to everyone in the Redot team. I'm sorry you're going such a vitriolic threats and wish you nothing but the best. That's what he was trying to get across. So
thanks.
Didn't come
off.
off.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it is. It's rough when communities are just abrasive, and the most toxic elements of both communities or different communities start arguing over silly stuff. It's just gotten touch grass sometimes, It's
yeah, for sure.
But
yeah,
I hope you. I wish everybody the best. It's it's just one of those things that we just gotta, push through and move on.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for sure.
All right. Do we have someone else to bring up here? Okay. We do have a Twitter one. Are both Godot and Redot able to share and take code from each other considering the licenses?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
yep. We've actually we pushed the fix up to them. So one of our early adopters runs a little 2D MMO called K-Tram, I believe. Kaetram. It's on Steam. And he was running into a packet problem where he was having packet loss issues. And
interesting.
It was, I guess he'd submitted to Godot, and it'd been a good while and nothing ever happened. So when we started, he submitted it to us, and they developed a fix for it, and we actually pushed it up to Godot, and they didn't like it at first, or I don't know, something happened. So then I guess we had to recomment and tell them exactly what it fixes and how it works. And I guess I don't know if they just misunderstood or didn't understand the initial message, but they finally, I guess they tagged it for, I don't know if they tagged it for the 4.4 or another 4.3, but it was going to take them a good while, so we just went ahead and stuck it in ours. If if they wind up pushing it down, and it'll come with their when we pull from them again, we'll just cut our code and bring it in from them. But meanwhile, everybody gets to benefit from the fix. So yeah,
That's great. I like that.
It's open source, it's MIT license. You can cherry pick or pull features from anybody. That's how the MIT license works, really. That's kind of how it is with most open source. It's just it's a license, and you use it how you can just pull the code if you need to, and follow whatever the license says.
All right, there's Sir Hunt's going to come back up. Oh, no, so you got another question here. If I had to ask, though, is there any way we can protect game community managers from the ilk of certain unsavory types?
Yeah, if you're a community manager, just block them personally so they can't PM you, and
ban hammer.
Like it's like there's no reason for anybody to take abuse from anywhere, really. If you don't like somebody on Twitter, you can just block them and they can't bother you. That there's a reason those tools exist. You should just be using them.
Understand. So yeah, we do have another question here. Can get this one up. Ains Pro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Will the engine introduce significant new features such as additional nodes, options, and stuff that really differentiate it from Go? And I think we touched on this a little bit before, so I don't want to insert words in your mouth on this one too much, but I do think that you want to keep parity. But I do like the idea of saying that like maybe you will come up with new nodes. So what are your thoughts around nodes and options and just ways to things that can be a superset versus
right
parity? What are options like that? Ideas?
Yeah, definitely. If it's something that doesn't break our ability to pull from upstream, we're definitely more than willing to look at it and implement it. There's obviously a lot of ideas. I can't speak to them all because there's tons, and I am watching so many areas I can't keep up with all of all the ideas and all the stuff that's being discussed. We've had loads and loads of discussions about what we can implement, and there's tons of great ideas, and I think nodes is probably something that we could look at for sure. But I would just say keep watching. I think once we get closer to 1.0, definitely see a lot more changes that will differentiate us. Even just the bug fixes themselves do, because they're things that Godot isn't doing. They could, but they haven't, and it's been a while.
Yeah.
So.
There have been a lot of long-standing things that have sat in the Godot thing. It's been a while since I've looked at their actual they're like the bug list or the feature list, the requests that people are constantly asking for. I know the big one has always been the issue with the script tab and the 3D script view weird tab nonsense has always bothered me. I have a hard time navigating it.
Yeah, we've actually talked about adding more tabs and stuff too. So
right. Yeah, any UI improvements would be greatly appreciated. I think. I think a lot of people in the community have long just lamented that Godot's UI it just has places that need to be fixed. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be a little stifling at times, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we got anything else coming up here. Yeah, so I think there's George McCorsman asks, in order to not fragment online training resources, including the YouTube tutorials, can you pledge to maintain compatibility with Godot's GD script implementation with well into the future? And then Can Redot allow a George Marquise to be the Guido von Rossum of GD script, which I find that kind of funny. He's that's
That
a
is kind of
very
funny.
interesting characterization. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. And I think I think the point is that we aren't going to break compatibility with GD script.
Yeah.
So that's one of the points. We've had so many people, oh, you should rip it out. Oh, you should do this,
Rip it out, install Lua.
somebody,
That's. I'm
somebody,
sure that's always a request people make.
yeah, somebody offered some money for us to maybe build a separate version that was strictly C# and with everything else ripped out.
Interesting.
Yeah, we don't really have any interest in that. We definitely have interest in building a version that deviates heavily from Godot, but that wouldn't be our stable base. So like 4.3, 4.4. We'll always probably keep some sort of stability or some sort of parity to where it doesn't deviate that much, but we might have a separate thing that you could download, a separate product that does heavily deviate for people that are interested in different things like having Jolt built in or a different renderer, things like that. So those are obviously future plans, but we don't plan on going anywhere. So keep an eye out.
Yeah. I think we got one here. Leading Status asked, do you plan on implementing tools for non-programmers? He adds, Godot seems approachable for these kinds of users, but not too much. Like RPG Maker and Game Maker are examples. Those are good game engines if you're just learning. But I think this leads to it's a leading question because
very leading.
Because the question is are you bringing back visual scripting in Godot? That's in Redot. Is that how it's going to go?
Yeah. So no. We're
all right. We're done.
No. We are not bringing back Godot's visual scripting. No, we're not doing that. However, there is a guy in our Discord who is building a event sheet in GD script. He's calling it event sheet currently. His name, I don't know how to pronounce it, man. I'm sorry. I believe it's Ladek. It's spelled WLADEK. So he's building an event sheet visual scripting that's very similar to Construct 3 or GDevelop, if you've seen that. I can't think of any other event sheet style things, but it is also going to allow people to have the event sheet on one side and the code that it translates to on the other side. So people that are, very scared of code or whatever, just trying to learn it, can use the event sheet and see what code is actually being generated by the event sheet. So we plan on supporting this. It's going to be a plugin. So it's not going to be built in, but I think that's probably a good thing in this case.
It'd be nice to be tracked down.
Yeah, but it'll be unofficially supported. So some of our devs want to get involved with it and help him build it out more once he hits a certain point. He's going to open source it, and so even if one of the other forks, or if Godot wanted to, they could obviously, it would work. It should work on Godot too. But I think that'll be a great tool. I've always been a huge fan of event sheets versus visual scripting, like Godot tried to do, or like Unreal uses blueprints. I'm not the biggest fan of blueprints.
They seem to be hard to collaborate. Like version control seems to be difficult around the blueprint idea.
Yeah, and it's hard to, for me, it's harder to visualize what I'm doing for some reason. But the event sheet really kind of clicked for me when I was, first learning and just, first dabbling with game engines and stuff. I used Construct 2 for a while.
Well, Game Maker uses something similar to event sheet, right?
No,
Is that what they do?
Game Maker, they have a visual scripting, but it's more.
It's
Um,
different than what other
it's
visual scripting tools are like.
it
Yeah, it's
is
not
different. And most people don't use it. Um,
interesting.
so it's it's different. You know, usually they just try to use it as a way to get you involved in game making, and then you'll move over to the code, which is fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think there's a lot less like tutorials and stuff out there for what they call drag and drop. That's what they call theirs. Um, so we intend to support this with tutorials and stuff like that too.
That
Once,
sounds like a great addition. Honestly, it seems like there's always that that gap between those that can code a little bit and those
Mhm.
that need the visual languages, and it's
Yeah.
nice to have something available.
Hmm.
I think I'm familiar with the idea of this event, like you're talking about this event table or event graph.
Hmm.
But I think it's a little different than visual scripting and then different than some of the other designs out there. So I'm kind of curious to see what it looks like. That'd be probably it's a neat feature looking forward to.
Yeah.
Um,
If you pop on our Discord in the I think it's in community resources maybe. There's that he's actually got a running thing there for the event sheet, so you
no,
can't
that's
miss it.
excellent.
There's a lot there. So he's posting screenshots and little videos of how to work and stuff like that. So it's pretty wild.
That's excellent. By the way, everybody, uh, check us out at itspace.com. You can join our Discord server. You can follow us on X. And then don't forget Andevrs here. Uh, go check him out on is it redoengine.com?
Yeah, Redot Engine. Yeah, it's spelled
Redot
Redot.
Engine?
Redot
Yeah, yeah,
Engine.
redotengine.com.
It's actually .org, not
Is
.com.
it .org? Okay, so
It's
yeah.
.org. Yeah.
And I think we're
Oh,
okay.
that's a
We
good
do have
question.
one.
Um,
Oh yeah, let me get
there,
that question. It's yeah, at what level of proficiency does one have to be to contribute? So that's our last question, I think. At the
okay, yeah,
what do
that's a
you
great
think?
question. You don't have to be at any certain level. Depending on your skill level, there's either docs and things that can be helped out with. We've got a docs team that's doing some work. Um, we have a mod team. If you're interested in engine development, um, there's going to be places in the future that you can contribute even in small ways to get used to the code and stuff. So whether that's just making um, comment changes or just small changes in general. Um, so once we get out past our 1.0, it'll be a lot easier to have a task list so we can actually assign people tasks if they want to contribute and teach them how to do the PRs and things. So we're definitely looking at that kind of stuff because we want people to be able to jump in wherever they are interested.
That sounds excellent. Yeah, it's depending on proficiency, it's often just the struggle there is right now most of the developers that have skill are focused very detailed on like very specific things, especially the build
Mhm.
system,
Yep. Yep.
making sure that things get out reliably. But generally speaking, like if you are a person who doesn't have strong coding proficiency but you want to contribute, I would suspect the best way is just get in there and say you're interested, and then often
Mhm.
you'll find people that are willing to sort of shepherd you through the
Yeah.
process. There are but many people that'll be like, and don't expect yourself to solve a problem in like a day or two.
Mm-mm.
You can take 2 weeks at solving a minor problem that no one else is going to work on right now, but you're really
Right.
interested in. And
Yeah.
as long as you keep, just keep telling people what you're doing, how you're trying to solve the problem, you'll probably get a
Mhm.
little feedback back
Yeah.
and forth. And just, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Our devs are super helpful. They answer questions in Discord all the time. So if you're interested in helping and maybe you have a little bit of experience or want to gain more experience, that would definitely be a good way to go. Um, you can talk to any of them. They'll kind of point you in the right direction and probably help you out.
All right. I think we're going to, kind of finish things out here. We're going to,
Cool.
everybody should definitely join the itspace.com and check out the Discord. Join us there. You can join us at X at the Itspace Game Jam as well. and it says, don't forget to check out the Redot Engine with Andevrs and their team, and join them. You can give a shout out for the website again, so we get this right.
Sorry.
Okay. Yep. Oh, go ahead and shout out your website real quick.
Oh yeah, it's redotengine.org.
Okay.
That's the website.
And then we are going to move the It's Based Game Jam to the Discord voice chat after the stream ends, and everyone's welcome to join in and hang out. So we'll
Cool.
see everybody there. And you can go and check out the website, itsbased.com. We can go and join our Discord. There was a link at the bottom of the screen there coming up. And then, I think we'll see everyone there. Follow us on X as well. Oh.
Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, real quick. So so one of the things that we do here with It's Based, our bigger goal is to build culture and to kind of bring people back into feeling like they can speak and express themselves. And so, how can people help out to help you and help us build this culture and build a better world? I should say.
Oh, that's a big question. I would say just get involved wherever you feel most led to get involved. Like that's really what doing anything different is about. The term "just fork it" has a lot of connotation to it, but what it really kind of means is that if you want to see something different, be that change. Just do the thing, whatever it is. And eventually people will notice and they'll either help or but typically you're doing something right if you're taking a lot of shit for it. So just kind of use that as a gauge for how well you're doing.
Yeah, the worse it feels, the better you're doing. On that note, everybody, we're going to move this all to the It's Based Game Jam Discord. We're going voice chat, and I think we're going to sign out. It's been great talking to you, Andevrs.
Yeah, man, it's been great talking to you too.
Yeah, it's been excellent. I hope everyone was happy with the conversation, and like I said, join the Redot server and join our itsbased.com. I think that's all we got.
Cool.